Welcome to Lifeword's Day by Day, where we're talking about the responsibility we have as Christians to lay down liberties for the sake of other believers. Last week we said that we would do that so that the gospel would be made super clear and to remove any obstacles that anyone might have in coming and living out the gospel. Paul gives us another reason how there is greater blessing in the sacrificing of the liberty than in enjoying the liberty. And he lays this out in verses 19 through 23 in chapter 9. So in chapter 9, verse 19, he says, "For though I am free from all." In other words, Paul says, I'm no one's servant. I am beholden to no one. I'm no one's puppet. I'm not going to say anything in order to please people so that I might get a bigger check from them. But then he goes on to say, I have made myself a servant to all. So in other words, Paul says that in his worldview and philosophy of ministry, the opinions and demands of man are small and the words of God are great. And God has called him to lay down liberties, different liberties at different times, in order to serve others so that the gospel may go forth and so that some may believe. Paul goes on to say, as to the Jew, I became a Jew. When Paul was with the Jews, Paul did not do anything that would be considered offensive to a religious Jew. He didn't compromise the gospel, but neither did he needlessly compromise Jewish customs. And to those who did not live by Jewish law, then neither did he in ministering to them. Now we must pay attention here. When Paul says, I became all things to all people, this does not mean that Paul would visit the temple prostitutes in order to win the fornicators. No, what Paul is teaching us is that the gospel is adaptable. It has been freed from its cultural restraints and can walk in any culture and do its powerful work on people's hearts so that they may receive the blessings of the gospel as well. So the question becomes for us, is it our great desire to share in the blessings of the gospel, infinite, eternal blessings with others? There's no way we can be greedy with this as if more people who trust Christ will somehow diminish our reward. It's simply the opposite. The greater our joy will be when others enjoy the fruit of the gospel like we do. The greater our joy when we see God's chosen embrace forgiveness of sin, adoption into God's family, and begin to enjoy all the inherited blessings in Christ. And so we sacrifice because of God's call on our life in order to receive a reward. We sacrifice in order to share in blessings. The enjoyment of a liberty is temporal, but the enjoyment of sharing in the blessings of the gospel with others, now that's eternal. Today when you pray, please pray for Sam Jordan and his family, our missionaries in Jordan. And also remember the African-French Lifeword broadcast that's heard in Mali, Mauritius, Benin, Cameroon, Republic of the Congo, and Togo.